Relationships are a profound test of the human spirit. They go beyond the bonds we share with our partners, family, or loved ones. They encompass every connection we forge. The way we engage with our children, parents, siblings, friends, colleagues, or even the clerk at the corner store reveals who we truly are. Far more than any sophisticated psychological test ever could. When someone stirs irritation or impatience within us, life is sending us a gentle nudge. It's a sign that our heart needs to grow, to stretch beyond its current limits. It's an invitation to embrace the needs of others without letting our inner peace waver. A small, guarded heart sees others as obstacles, filling our lives with tension and conflict. But an open, expansive heart transforms relationships into well springs of joy, flowing with harmony and ease. The quality of our interactions, whether uplifting or strained, mirrors the breadth of our heart's capacity. Yet, we often misread this truth. We assume that our experience in a relationship reflects the other person's character. If being around someone feels warm and comforting, we label them as good. If they challenge us or spark discomfort, we deem them difficult or flawed. Worse still, we sometimes play amateur psychologists, diagnosing their supposed issues or labeling them as troubled. But our deepest need isn't to refine our skills in judging or analyzing others. What we truly require is an inner shift, a new way of seeing those we share our lives with, through eyes that are open and a heart that is wide. True joy blossoms when we feel connected, when love infuses our interactions. Conversely, our darkest moments often arise when we feel isolated, when anger or conflict severs the ties that bind us. The closer the relationship, the sharper the pain when that connection frays. Our happiness is far more intertwined with the people in our lives than our individualistic culture often acknowledges. If we view ourselves as separate entities, we might believe happiness is a finite resource to be grasped and guarded. More for me means less for you, and vice versa. Every spiritual tradition celebrates the power of love. In the West, Judaism places love for one's neighbor at its core, while Christianity elevates it as the heart of its teachings. Buddhist wisdom, in particular, offers practical tools to embody these values in daily life. Each tradition underscores that the quality of our relationships is paramount. Yet, in a world obsessed with wealth, success, and fame, the call to love others can feel naive, almost like a quaint ideal detached from reality. For a seed to flourish, the soil must be prepared. If the ground is hard or barren, the seed cannot take root. It needs soft, nourishing earth, rich with moisture and nutrients, to grow toward the light and anchor itself deeply. Without this preparation, the seed withers. Similarly, trying to nurture relationships without first softening our heart leads to empty or failed efforts. To be truly loving and compassionate, we need a heart that is open, pliable, and ready to embrace authentic connection. In Buddhism, this preparation is called mental training. Though often translated as meditation or prayer, these terms don't fully capture its essence, as they're not part of the Buddhist vocabulary. Mental training focuses on transforming ourselves. Unlike some Western religious perspectives that view prayer as a way to shape external reality, Buddhism emphasizes aligning with the world as it is, free from our biases and conditioning. Research, like that of Dr. Larry Dossey, has shown that prayer can aid recovery from illness, even when patients are unaware of it. Yet the Buddhist approach stands apart. It's not about exerting influence over the world, but about reshaping our own heart. Opening ourselves through these practices is in itself a quiet miracle. Let me invite you to explore Metta Meditation, a transformative practice designed to reshape how we connect with others. Known as Metta, meaning Maitri in Sanskrit or loving kindness, this form of mental training prepares our heart to be more open, welcoming, and filled with compassion. The concept is simple to grasp, but like all meditative practices, it demands patience and commitment. The Dalai Lama reminds us that every living being seeks happiness and strives to avoid suffering. Embracing this universal truth, we see that no one, including ourselves, deserves to be pushed away. For we all share the same fundamental longing for well-being. Even when our actions or those of others seem misguided, a closer look reveals the underlying desire to find happiness and escape pain. This insight is the key to unlocking compassion. We don't need to force empathy. It arises naturally when we see deeply enough. Compassion is already within us. Through mental training, we clear away the barriers that obscure our innate empathetic self, allowing a compassionate presence to shine through. One way to practice metta is to cultivate throughout your day the awareness that everyone seeks happiness and wishes to avoid suffering. In moments of calm, pause to reflect on this truth. See it in your actions and in the actions of others. Even more powerfully, apply this perspective when someone frustrates or hurts you. Try to look beyond their behavior to their deeper intentions. Similarly, when you judge yourself harshly for your choices, remind yourself that you too are simply seeking happiness. This awareness, nurtured consistently, becomes a powerful antidote to feelings of isolation and disconnection. The impatient driver, the curt voice on the phone, the gruff shop clerk, they are not strangers. Like us, they long to be happy and free from suffering. The ancient sage Patanjali offered this wisdom. Inner peace is cultivated by fostering friendship toward the joyful, compassion for the suffering, delight in the virtuous, and equanimity toward those who act wrongly. This teaching challenges our tendency to fixate on others' flaws while overlooking their positive qualities. Embracing this practice can lead us to profound serenity. Metta meditation unfolds through repeating benevolent intentions, starting with ourselves and expanding outward in ever-widening circles. The foundation is self-love. The Bible urges us to love our neighbor as ourselves, assuming self-love comes naturally. In traditional societies, this was taken for granted, but in our modern world, marked by insecurity and self-doubt, loving ourselves requires intentional focus. Psychologist Erich Fromm emphasized that the capacity to love is singular. There is no separate love for self and others. The more we show kindness and understanding to ourselves, the more we can extend it to others, and vice versa. Yet, we often confuse self-love with selfishness. In truth, selfish behaviors stem not from an excess of self-love, but from its absence. The urge to hoard or control reflects deep insecurity. The more is better mindset, more food, more wine, more everything, reveals a lack of genuine self-love, manifesting in destructive choices like excess or deprivation. These are not signs of too much love for oneself, but of a profound lack of love, both for ourselves and others. This is why Metta meditation begins with cultivating authentic self-love. Before extending kindness to others, we must offer it to ourselves. If you feel anger or frustration toward someone, forcing compassion won't work. In those moments, you are the one who needs kindness most. Start by sending yourself waves of love, patience, and understanding. Often, this alone will allow kindness to overflow to those around you. The practice then expands outward, from self-love to love for those closest to you, family or partners, then to friends, neutral acquaintances, those who challenge you, and ultimately, all living beings. This progression moves from the familiar to the difficult. Assuming self-love is the easiest step, followed by love for loved ones, while loving those who hurt us or all beings is more challenging. Yet, in our culture, self-love isn't always intuitive. Sometimes, it's easier to begin with those we naturally cherish, a partner, a child, or even a pet, and let the circle of love grow from there. Let's take a moment to practice Metta Meditation, a nurturing exercise in loving kindness. Find a comfortable position, seated or lying down, and spend a few moments centering yourself with mindful breathing, allowing your body and mind to soften. Begin by turning your attention inward. Cultivate warmth and acceptance toward yourself, your body, your mind, your essence. Picture offering yourself a gentle smile. As you breathe mindfully, say aloud or silently, "May I be calm and filled with joy. May I have all I need to thrive. May I experience simple, natural well-being. May I be safe from harm and suffering. May I be free from anger, fear, anxiety, and all physical, mental, or spiritual distress. May I find deep peace, freedom from suffering, and the light of awareness." Pause between each intention, breathing deeply, letting the meaning sink in with sincerity, not mechanically. Linger with each phrase for a few breaths, continuing until you feel a shift in your inner state. When ready, extend your practice to others, adapting the pronoun I to you, he, she, or they as appropriate, directing the same intentions to those closest to you like family or a partner, friends, neutral people such as acquaintances or colleagues, those who stir discomfort or pain, all living beings without exception. Let each intention feel alive and heartfelt, avoiding rote recitation. There's no need to rush through the categories. Move slowly, with authenticity, rather than checking off a list. If you feel the need to focus on yourself during a session, dedicate the entire time to self-directed loving kindness without pressure to move on. You can approach the practice systematically, perhaps dedicating a session, a week, or even a month to yourself before moving to loved ones, friends, and so on. Alternatively, include a bit of each level in a single session. Whatever your approach, ensure the words carry genuine feeling, not just repetition. These suggested intentions are broad and generous, but feel free to adapt them or create your own, keeping their spirit intact. Using the same phrases for each level reinforces the truth that all beings share the same fundamental desires. Consider how to weave this practice into your existing meditation routine, perhaps reserving mornings for other techniques and evenings for metta, or temporarily focusing solely on metta. Find a rhythm that allows you to nurture this practice with intention and presence. When you embark on the practice of Metta Meditation, you'll begin to notice subtle shifts in your inner world, like a keen scientist observing the quiet unfoldings of an experiment. Be patient and curious, attuned to both the delicate ripples and the deeper transformations that take time to blossom. Commit to a regular practice and watch how it gently reshapes your mindset and, in turn, breathes new life into your relationships. You may encounter moments of resistance when extending the same heartfelt intentions to everyone, especially toward certain individuals. It's natural to feel hesitation when cultivating compassion for those who stir discomfort or pain. Yet, you might be surprised to find this resistance even toward yourself. As you voice an intention like, "May I be calm and filled with joy," a flicker of doubt may arise, as if wishing happiness for yourself feels somehow selfish. Or perhaps you pause when desiring all that you need or want, particularly if your cultural or religious background equates such wishes with greed. This is the heart of the practice, to offer kindness first to yourself, then to others, allowing resistance to soften over time. Gradually, you'll feel your heart expand, shedding the weight of judgment and limitation. It might come easily to wish yourself profound peace or spiritual awakening, but extending those same wishes to others, especially those you view as enemies, can feel daunting. Recognizing them as beings who, like you, seek to escape suffering is no small feat. Yet these moments of resistance signal that the practice is touching something deep within. As these intentions take root in your consciousness, you'll find it easier to connect with others, and you may notice a shift in how they respond to you. Your inner transformation radiates outward, felt by those around you. At first, you might rely on the full affirmations provided, using them to anchor your thoughts, which can otherwise drift into vagueness. After weeks or months of steady practice, these words may start to feel heavy or repetitive. This is your invitation to experiment with brevity or even silence. For yourself, try resting in a quiet sense of love and acceptance, perhaps whispering the word love in your mind. For others, you might find that a wordless intention to envelop them in warmth suffices. When extending metta to all beings, visualize a radiant light flowing from your heart to every living creature. No words needed. If your focus blurs, return to the full affirmations to regain clarity. Like other forms of meditation, metta offers countless opportunities for informal practice throughout the day. A teacher might pause between classes. A driver could send a silent intention at each stop, or a professional might weave it between meetings. It takes only a moment. By subtly integrating metta into your daily interactions, you may begin to see your relationships transform, reshaping your interpersonal world with quiet grace. Buddhism, with its practical wisdom, reminds us that kind and loving intentions, while precious, are not enough. The pain we cause or experience in relationships often stems not from malice, but from a lack of skill or sensitivity. Mindfulness is a powerful ally here, enabling us to observe clearly how our words and actions affect others, and how theirs affect us, without slipping into harsh self-criticism or blame. Over time, this awareness helps us discern what fosters connection and what creates distance. No one would trust a doctor, however kind, who lacks the skills to heal. A surgeon with good intentions but no expertise could cause harm. Similarly, a friendly but incompetent mechanic offers little help. In personal relationships, intentions matter, and recognizing the sincerity behind a blunt remark can soften its sting. Yet, without relational skill, even the purest intentions can spark tension, eroding our capacity for compassion and calm. When we lose not only our skill, but also our desire to be loving, finding our way back becomes a steep climb. Consider the deep rifts that form in some couples. Two people drawn together by love and attraction can, over time, find themselves locked in relentless conflict or even destructive behavior. How does initial love turn to hostility? Our culture often romanticizes love, leading us to believe that a relationship should thrive effortlessly as if it were a fixed entity, either good or bad. Instead of nurturing the bond, we take it for granted. But even the strongest love can wither without conscious effort. Deep listening, thoughtful word choice, and small acts of kindness. Without this care, resentment can overshadow affection. Just as a garden requires more than prepared soil to yield a harvest, relationships need ongoing tending. Without consistent care, young plants falter. Similarly, without cultivating loving kindness through practices like metta, it's hard to apply relational skills effectively. An unprepared heart, clouded by anger or resentment, undermines even the right words, which ring hollow if paired with a harsh tone or gesture. Harmonious relationships require both: a heart softened by metta and a steady practice of mindful, sensitive interaction. Together, they weave the miracle of deep, authentic connection. The gift of deep listening. Offering someone your full, attentive presence is a remarkable gift. In a culture that prizes action and quick fixes, we often undervalue the healing power of simply listening. We assume that to be helpful, we must say something, do something, or offer advice. As Carl Jung noted, good advice is often a doubtful remedy, rarely dangerous, because it has so little effect. Even when advice is sound, its true value lies in the care and empathy it conveys, not its content. In psychotherapy, deep listening is the cornerstone. Yet even therapists can fall into the trap of believing their wise words, clever insights, or brilliant interpretations are what matter most. While these have their place, their impact is often overstated. A therapist's words resonate because they make the client feel seen and valued, not because of their literal meaning. Those who practice therapy, while honoring its importance, should recognize that its very existence points to a broader lack. In our action-driven, problem-solving world, spaces for genuine listening are scarce. This realization urges us to speak less and listen more, with greater calm, clarity, and presence. To listen deeply, we must carve out space in our hearts for another's concerns. This is impossible if we're consumed by our own thoughts, plans, or judgments. We can't truly hear if we're already crafting advice while the other speaks. Authentic listening demands a quiet mind, an inner space that's open and inviting. This is why mindfulness practices like meditation are vital for honing this skill. Deep listening requires a willingness to understand. Understanding means stepping back, quieting your mind, and setting aside, at least momentarily, your opinions, reactions, and assumptions to prioritize the other's experience. Understanding may be even more vital than love. When you truly understand, love flows naturally. But love without understanding risks being a hollow illusion. When we think we're listening, we're often filtering others' words through our own beliefs and perspectives. One such filter is agree, disagree. With this lens, we don't truly hear. We measure what's said against our existing views. Whether we agree or disagree, the outcome is the same. We're defending our worldview, not welcoming the other, creating a subtle divide. We fear that real listening might change us, and we're right. Listening is an act of courage and openness to being touched and transformed by another. Another filter is pleasant, unpleasant. When someone's words spark discomfort or tension, our instinct is to push back, shielding ourselves from unease. Sometimes we rush to offer advice or judgment. You should do this. Or you're missing the point. The truth is not to help, but to ease our own discomfort. These responses may comfort us, but they often leave the other feeling unheard, as if we're saying, "You just don't get it." If they reject our advice, we might widen the gap, thinking it's their fault, they deserve it, they won't listen. By blaming them, we feel safer, convinced we'd never make their mistakes. Both the pleasant, unpleasant, and agree-disagree filters create distance. Even when we enjoy what someone says, the relief of hearing something agreeable can lull us into shallow listening. In either case, we're not making space for the other's truth. Removing these filters to listen authentically is a bold act. It means risking influence, change, or even pain. Deep listening invites ideas that challenge us and emotions that unsettle us. This is only possible with inner calm, steady awareness, and the strength to hold another's words without being overwhelmed. With this mindful presence, we can embrace others' experiences, meeting whatever arises within us with confidence. Listening in this way is a precious gift, an act of openness that demands both courage and vulnerability. For a day or more, pay close attention to the mental filters that arise when you listen to others. Your body often holds the clues. When you hear something unsettling or disagreeable, or even anticipate it, you may feel a slight tightening, as if bracing for impact. Notice this tension and how it narrows your awareness. Breathe into it, softening its grip, and try to hold a calm, spacious focus on the speaker. Becoming an engaged listener. Skillful listening is more than staying quiet. When we listen with true presence, the other person feels our attentiveness. To listen deeply, we must show we're receiving their words, creating room in our hearts for their truth. You don't need to say it outright, though words like, "I'm here for you," can help. Far more important is embodying this openness through your demeanor. A skilled listener's face is alive, subtly mirroring the speaker's emotions. A trace of empathy in the eyes for a sad story, a warm smile for a light moment. These responses flow naturally when we allow our face to be open and present, free from exaggeration. A key aspect of skillful listening, as Carl Rogers described, is reflecting to understand, often called reflective listening. This isn't a therapeutic technique, but a way to confirm you've grasped the speaker's message. Try phrases like, "Let me see if I've got this." It sounds like you're saying, "Let me summarize what I heard. What I'm hearing is, you feel that." The exact words matter less than the intent to understand. It's okay if you miss the mark. If the speaker corrects you with, "No, that's not what I meant, that's progress. Even a misstep helps them clarify, and your willingness to be corrected shows your genuine desire to connect. A skilled listener is slow to give advice. While not an absolute rule, offering suggestions shifts the dynamic from understanding to directing. When we give advice, we risk implying our ideas outshine the speaker's. Deep listening trusts in the speaker's inner wisdom, their ability to find their path. Plus, advice often backfires, missing the mark. Listening is a refined art, one we can always hone. Even seasoned listeners stumble, tempted to share unsolicited advice or brilliant insights that serve their ego more than the other's needs. No matter your skill, there's room to grow. Approach it with patience, humility, and a commitment to keep learning. The next time someone comes to you with a concern, or challenge yourself to listen with undivided attention, focusing solely on understanding their words carry. Resist the urge to shift the topic or share a story. If you can, wait for them to ask for your advice before offering it, and notice how rarely this happens. If you feel compelled to suggest solutions, pause, bring awareness to that impulse, and gently ask, "May I share an idea?" Or, "Would you like to hear a suggestion?" The aim isn't to banish advice entirely. Sometimes it's genuinely helpful. But most of us lean too heavily on speaking, listening too little. By nurturing a deeper, more present ear, any advice we do offer will land with greater relevance and warmth, more likely to be received. Listening is vital, but the way we speak holds equal weight. In Buddhism, right speech holds a sacred place in the Noble Eightfold Path. Thich Nhat Hanh, in the heart of the Buddha's teaching, beautifully expresses this principle. Mindful of the pain caused by careless words and the inability to truly hear others, I vow to cultivate compassionate speech and deep listening to bring joy and happiness to those around me and ease their suffering. Knowing that words can spark joy or sorrow, I choose to speak truthfully, with words that inspire confidence, hope, and serenity. I will not spread unverified rumors or criticize what I'm uncertain of. I refrain from words that sow division or conflict, or that could harm families or communities. I commit to resolving even the smallest disputes with every effort. In Buddhist wisdom, listening and speaking are two facets of the same practice. Right speech is inherently loving, aimed at easing suffering and fostering joy. Even when truth demands words that might sting momentarily, we must tread carefully. It's all too easy to mask anger as truth-speaking, wielding words as weapons rather than tools for healing. Moreover, what we call truth is often partial, shaped by our own lens. Mindfulness helps us to discern whether we're sharing a necessary, if painful, truth, or merely venting frustration under the guise of honesty. When broaching tough subjects, timing and gentleness are key. It's unwise to dive into a heavy conversation when someone's rushing out the door or weary from a long day. Yet, even with the purest intentions, our words won't always be embraced, especially if the other isn't ready to hear. Speak your feelings openly. Instead of assuming another's thoughts or motives, share what stirs within you. For instance, "I felt hurt when you slammed the door shut hard," resonates more than "You were so rude to slam the door in my face." The latter, though prefaced with "I feel," is a judgment in disguise. Labeling someone rude or their action slamming invites defensiveness, while voicing your emotions opens a path to connection. This holds true for positive emotions too. "I felt so cherished when you made my favorite meal," deepens bonds. But to express your feelings clearly, you must first recognize and embrace them with care. Own your emotions. Saying, "I felt frustrated when you left dishes piled in the sink," is wiser than "You made me angry with those dishes." The second phrase shifts blame, implying the other controls your feelings. The first acknowledges your agency. It's a subtle but transformative shift. Steer clear of labels and judgments. Calling someone defensive or diagnosing their issues is just a polished insult. Words like always or never, as in you never do your share, are often inaccurate and box the other into a rigid role, sparking conflict. Instead, name the underlying feeling. I feel overwhelmed when household tasks feel uneven. Ask for what you want, not what you don't. Compare. You never take me out to dinner. Don't you love me anymore? To, I'd love it if we could plan a dinner date sometime soon. The second is inviting, respectful, encouraging change without making the other feel lacking. Use humor sparingly. Humor can lighten a moment, but sarcasm or jabs at another's expense risk wounding or distancing. If you choose humor, let it be kind, ideally self-directed. Acknowledge your role in conflicts, even if your part feels small. Owning it, maybe I wasn't clear about what I needed, fosters openness. Blaming the other entirely shuts down dialogue, while genuine acknowledgement paves the way for collaboration. But be sincere. Insincere concessions can backfire. Find common ground. Even if someone hurls a harsh word like foolish, you might say, "You're right. I've made some thoughtless moves at times." This doesn't mean accepting the label, but recognizing a shared human flaw. Follow with, "Can you tell me more about what you mean?" This diffuses tension and shows openness without sacrificing self-respect. Avoid rushing to fix things. If you're a natural problem solver, you might leap to solutions. "Why don't you just," or "all you need to do is," but if your ideas meet "yeah, but" responses, it may signal the other craves understanding, not answers. If unsure, ask openly. "Would you like to talk more, or would a suggestion help?" Ensure your tone welcomes either choice, not hinting that advice is superior. We often show more courtesy to strangers than to those we hold dear. Strive to treat your loved ones with at least the same respect and care you'd offer a passerby. Be mindful of your tone, facial expressions, gestures, and body language. How you say something often matters more than the words themselves. I've invited couples to record their conversations, and many are struck by how their tone betrayed intentions they thought they'd conveyed. Imagine a sarcastic "sorry" delivered with a smirk, only for the speaker to claim, "I was just being polite." Observe the impact of your words and delivery. Do they weave an atmosphere of warmth and connection, or do they breed distance and defensiveness? If the outcome falls short, there's likely a more skillful way. No guide can cover every scenario, but by tuning into others' responses, whether your words spark closeness or closure, you can refine your approach, making it more effective and heartfelt. Don't let these principles become fuel for arguments. Anger can twist even the best tools into weapons. Use these ideas to guide your actions mindfully, nurturing your relationships and fostering harmonious dialogue. It's often said that actions speak louder than words. Kind, loving words lose their shine if not backed by equally tender deeds. Through Metta Meditation, which opens our hearts, we find that loving actions flow effortlessly. It's not about grand, deliberate gestures, but about being our truest selves. A tree doesn't strive to do good by producing oxygen or fruit. It simply is, blessing the world by its nature. Likewise, when we nurture calm and awareness within, we become a gift to those around us. Our inner peace and joy uplift loved ones who feel lighter in our presence. This doesn't diminish the value of intentional acts. A beautiful practice is to wake each morning and ask, how can I bring a bit of joy to those I love today? Then weave those intentions into small, meaningful actions throughout the day. In strained relationships, negative cycles can take hold, with harmful behaviors feeding off each other, escalating with each exchange. Without conscious intervention, these patterns grow more toxic. Thankfully, positive cycles also gain momentum. Though they may feel forced at first, with persistence, they deepen into natural habits. Breaking a negative cycle is hard. When hurt or angry, doing something kind for the other feels counterintuitive, and fear of being misunderstood or taken advantage of can loom large. Yet most people respond to consistent, heartfelt kindness. Metta Meditation can ease these emotional barriers, making it easier to act generously despite pain. We sometimes pour time and energy into gestures we think are helpful, only to find they miss the mark. Phrases like, "They never appreciate what I do," or "No matter how hard I try, it's never enough," echo this frustration. Dig deeper, and you may see the issue isn't ingratitude, but a mismatch. Your efforts didn't align with what the other truly needed. Fixing the car or cooking a special meal might reflect your desires or expectations, not theirs. This reveals a vital truth. When we say we're acting for someone's good, we're often doing what feels good to us, or what we hope will be praised. How do we know what someone truly wants? The answer is simple yet profound. Ask. Listening closely and asking directly unveils their real desires, making your actions more meaningful and valued. Expressing gratitude authentically is a potent act of kindness. Ask people, and many will claim they already make an effort to show appreciation. Yet we also sense a scarcity of genuine recognition in our world. How can both be true? Track how often in a week you offer deep, meaningful gratitude beyond polite niceties, and you might be surprised at how rare it is. A sincere, warm expression of thanks forges a profound bond, enriching both giver and receiver, and fuels positive cycles in relationships. Some view analyzing human interactions as cycles as too transactional, lacking heart. Yet healthy relationships do involve a natural exchange, not a rigid tally of give and take, but a flow where bringing joy to others nurtures our own. Caring for our well-being, in turn, blesses those around us. An act of giving holds a touch of self-care, and self-care carries generosity. It's not just that giving trumps receiving. Both are threads in the same tapestry of connection.